winner of the 19th Annual Writers Digest Writing Competition and 3 times Pushcart Prize nominee. Her poems have appeared in Bellevue Literary Review, Crab Orchard Review, the Hudson River Museum, the Penn Review, Whale Road Review, and elsewhere. Melissa holds an MFA from Sarah Lawrence College, edits book reviews for Mamek Review Literary Magazine, and serves as a poet laureate of Mamaroneck. Please help me welcome Melissa. Let me get.
Oh. Read those by mistake.
No, but I'm gonna leave that there. If you want to read one of my poems, I have some.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll see how this goes. Hi, thank you. As Juan said, we've been working on this project a few months now. I was pleased when he called me. We had been talking about, as poets laureate of our respective communities, doing a project together. And I thought this is such a great idea, not just for the communities, but selfishly for poets, to like meet each other. We don't often get across the river to do events together. So it's great fun, and I'm so happy he invited me to develop it with him. And like I said, we've got like 32 poets represented with our readings now. So very happy with that. Number of them are here today, and thank you. I am going to read a few poems from First Father, a chapbook that is centered on my biological father, whom I never knew, who suffered from alcoholism and who died in a motor vehicle accident when I was 7. In my late 40s, these poems started emerging, and I conducted research with his surviving friends and family who were gracious enough to share stories, send me handwritten letters of his, send me photographs, and even was in contact on Facebook with a stepdaughter of his from later in his life. And so these are poems that are all addressed to him in a sort of attempt at a posthumous conversation. That was the only thing I had. They're untitled and kind of short snapshots, so I'm just going to read them as a flow. Like Isis, adrift on a papyrus boat, I quest after your scattered pieces. I build a shrine to each where none had existed, as if by worship I might bring you back. I did not love you. Now, afloat among the vascular weeds, I pick thin strips of pith from the soaked and softened hull, press each fragment flat upon my body to dry like skin. I believed for more than 30 years you were drunk when you died, careless, your tractor trailer careening off the Loma Bridge. I was wrong. A minor miscalculation, then a 100-foot drop, a railroad track. I didn't know you. I barely belonged to you. I believe you held me only once. If I'm wrong, don't tell me. She told me last spring what was left of you 43 years ago, after us, when you were better, sober, working, larger than life. Turns out you were more you than before she took my place. I pretend I'm her, the other daughter from the other wife. I pretend I'm the one you're teaching to play piano, sitting next to you on the bench, the one feeling your fingers guiding to the right keys, mine. I dreamt I held your stocking hat. I wanted to try it on to see if it would fit me too. When I was an infant, my head was so large, the doctors thought I had water on the brain. I didn't cry until I was 1. When I found my voice, they called it a miracle. Did you know? I dreamt I opened that dark wool, wondered if I could fill your vacancy. Let me be that toddler you saved when you were 14, a Boy Scout, a hero, when you pulled her limp body from the irrigation ditch cut between crops. Let those be my lungs you filled with your breath. Let those be my eyes you watched open to yours. Let that be my body you cradled in your arms. Let me be the one you saved. If you want to read more, I have copies over there. You can find out how that story ends. Thank you. I'm also going to read a sampling of poems from a new manuscript that I'm currently submitting for publication. The larger themes of the manuscript deal with motherhood, serious illness, but there are also lots of science and nature poems threaded throughout, and I'm going to read a selection of those. This first poem is called Self-Portrait as Daniela Cerebrum, and that is a tiny fish that has an extraordinary capability of producing a 140 decibel sound. Self-Portrait as Daniela Cerebrum. I pose under their microscope, my bony half-inch frame, my lifelong transparent skin. My fish body held in situ, stunned by anesthesia, glowing with chemical dyes. See how I produce 140 decibels, fifth rib thumping cartilage against swim bladder, pick, pick, pick. I've always been a loud talker, a hammer pounding a nail, a thunderclap, a fireworks burst. I know my code can't be deciphered with their throat-bound sounds locked inside the body's science. They hear only an echo of clicks, but I'm here to tell you my words, like a pulse, rise under pressure. This one considers the roly-poly. Under the rock, I see what was hidden, a roly-poly, potato bug, pill bug, earth crustacean. Its tiny legs feathering the dirt like brooms, sweeping the present into the past. Today, I tucked into child's pose, and the teacher said, remember who you are. Sometimes I want to be shaped smaller, twined with tiny things. I want to eat the detritus, make old into new, dead into living. I want to uncurl, regardless of birds and spiders. This one is based on a CNN World article by the same title. Starfish bodies aren't bodies at all. They're essentially just giant heads without blood or brains. At age 13, I had my first migraine. I lost my peripheral vision and walked into a parked car at the mall, banging my stomach into the fender. Starfish spit their stomachs out through their mouths to engulf and digest their food. That year in 8th grade, our health science teacher warned us about eating disorders, and we worried who might fall prey. Evolving over time, starfish lost their torsos after the essential organs moved into their arms. No one explained to us the difference between fasting and starving. Either one will make the torso disappear. When only a head is left, there's too much time to think about things, like how after too many years fasting in dysmorphia, a dancer friend chose to starve instead. These spiny stars can choose any direction, freed from knowing their bodies aren't bodies at all. This next poem was written in response to a cyanotype, which is a photographic blueprint of 2 fern fronds. So there are references in here to cyanotypes, the folklore of the fern, and to scientific facts. Ode to the Fern. Is it true your leaves spin lead into silver? Your fiddleheads sing into fertility? We need your blueprint for survival. We are not who we think we are. You show us when the object is removed, a ghost remains, its edges blurred and fading. Ancient mother, you shifted spores, propagated prehistoric floors before hardwood trees, flowers, and seeds. Cliffhanger, wind shaker, weather vane, protect us with your vascular antidote, spiraling through time before our own blood stirred. Please remind us we still know how to unfurl. And my last poem emerged from observations made at a salt marsh near my home. Life cycle. There is a life where the fish is freed from the aquarium, the monkey from the cage, the rhino from the reserve, where the outside is as safe as the inside. There is a life where the seagull floats above a shoreline, ready to drop a mussel onto a blackened rock, a breaking, then a feeding. A life where beer cans tossed by late night teens into the marsh's seagrasses rise up and march through the air, Fantasia style, along the wooden boardwalk to drop one by one in orderly fashion into the recycling bin. There is a life where the splintering wood rail pushes out the oxidizing nail, its wound softened to pulp, where the snowy egrets who leave the northern pond to fly south all make it to their winter trailers, where the trailers do not get sucked into the tornado is not spawned by the hurricane, a life where the wind stays calm over the sea and we do not kill ourselves trying to stay alive. Thanks.
Thank you, Melissa, for being poems. Thank you. Thank you. Next, I have the pleasure to introduce Carla Carlson. I'm glad you're here. Carla's poems have been published in numerous magazines and journals, such as Beyond Words, Eunoia, did I read that right? Thrush, Derailleur Press, Moment Review, Yes Poetry, Dialogists, and more. Her chapbook, Love and Oranges, also here for sale, was published by Finishing Line Press, and she has taught poetry classes at the Writing Institute at Sarah Lawrence College and currently tutors privately. She and her husband live in Bronxville, New York. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you. That was really great, Lisa.
Origin. Into marriage, into the glued mood. How is she? Said the eye. We'd touch wrists, see in. In her mind goes to the MoMA, to the loop. 2 carrot cakes on the dining table. He's back from the gym, his own kind of animal, nose blowing, hooves. Not yet 8 a.m., ink thick. What to say, having been spoken over, weighing her lines paratactically, having become spicier, a cake, waiting to be iced. The little heater by her twisted knees. Am I being heard? Okay. The day before surgery. Into a frosted glass, I stare into water, into the circle of flowers, sliding millimeters, never spilling. The water jostles like the amoeba of fear that slinks from one hand to the other every moment the body sleeps. Alone, sloshing between my inside, and the world in which others touch mine. I ask any angel to slip in beside me. Broken Swan. Flowing into dancer's arms, a waltz, across a sun-glazed studio. Mine too. The day I saw the toe and arrow on Lair, it was too much happiness. The knee leapt into arms to be cradled. Once I was a girl in blush leotard, white tights. Today in the pantry, reaching for beans, the right shoulder. I won't tell the teacher, no. Again, moving half an inch just to see. And I won't say about the shin bone, lighting on and off, and that crunch inside the hip bones opening to plie. The red cardinal, the dark railing. All I'd need is a little of that red on my lips to cut this fog. Let me be drunk. And for that matter, I've taken in too much. Let me be confronted. I did not know how hard it would be, stopping the killing of feelings. A blue car crawls up to a convergence of streets, carves a 3-point turn. Now it will be time to clean the clogged vents of air conditioners. At some point, I have to blacken the sun, not allow myself to stray, not to sweeten the rooms. I brought myself to the metal. Men in scrubs lifted me up, taped me down. I told them my name and which knee. One pressed soft pads onto my chest by my heart. Above hung a clipboard like a star. How many men I didn't count, preparing my woman's body for the doctor. My option or my dream until that moment just before all my animal strength ceased. Then, there. The knee, home. In sheets. This eye, in the blue day, must fall further forward, bend in 1/8-inch increments daily 3 times. Each day on the continuum, splintering. A voice inside does the nursing now. Thursday, I may not hear from anyone. Who locked this glass maze of doors and left me inside? My mind laid out for the looking. Sit up, sip. How does anyone end the hell they've found? Not this or that. Raising my head up, body turned, wincing in the night. It's something else, requiring the help of others, good people, tomorrow. This is how I stopped being the only one. Soon the kids on Sagamore will walk up the hill. Truck wheels squeak. A sympathy card, suddenly I have words for. In the library where I fainted, the blinds were pulled so they made an up and down pattern, white on white, absorbing the hum of the heater. Then, symptomatic gave way to breath. Leaves did their empathic thing. Bandaged, unashamed, I smiled a shaky smile at the shaky woman. All the books knowing more, wrapped in the same ruin, rugs on the floor, dull upholstered chairs, teal paint and white molding. Through the glass, anyone could see the pale green flutter of the leaves. They whispered to one another when the people cleared away. Argument for departure. Sagas of glory, armored horses, heroes, the subsequent monuments, bronze statues. A young girl detaches. Why wouldn't a girl? That same morning, from the throats of a thrill of thrush came a syncopated song she didn't miss, nor quite discern. She pursued for a time the silver mirror. Now there are two of her. Slight smile on each countenance. Blood thrumming, rose petals from the magnolias derange the air and settle like clint prints on the sidewalk. A stirring of lilacs married one to the open door. At the top of a rock. She couldn't leave the rock she sat on, part slumped, under a leafy festoon. No sky to see. Time glommed her. Not for her joy did the boy take her picture under the tree. Not to hear her pleased voice. It was her secret power to keep quiet. Neither one spoke. He clicked, she, on the boulder in this unknown bit of nature, posed in the indigo skirt, delicate gold ovals in her ears. I pulled her 40 years after from my mirror drawer. For the sweet veil of adoration, I could see why she allowed. The longer she stayed, the farther she went. Am I okay on time? Yeah, okay. Repetitions. Colossal surrender of street. Scrape, scrape, double scrape. She in her floating window. Man, man, man. Toiling in mother mind, beyond time's right mind, reaching all the way back to the daytime, as if the dead could repair the living. Commentary. Like we did, the youth believe they're the first to learn truth. I have seen all that. Cycles stomping, breaking nails, turbulent, lost for a star. The ceiling lamp. Mousing in the drawer, a woman finds a version of her young face, parcel of the past. The old woman sees the young woman, the girl self she obliviated to come what may. Tonight, the old woman's crooked finger lights the face of the girl, woos her. In the hovering, molecules sing arias. Beams reach out, touch their own reflections, globes and their inner halos on the wall, prettier than the elaborate apparatus. Ephemerality. The man leaves the quiet dialogue with the woman. He leaves her lying there in the living room as he picks up a glass he wants to place in the dishwasher, right back. Dark at 5. The woman, sofa-bound, looks across the street into beaming windows on the brick building as evening lamps come on, one by one. An octopus unfurls. Colorless fish turn silver. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Glad to meet your poems. Next will be now someone from this side of the river, Alison Stone, who I like to say is a friend, but also a poet that I admire and respect. And as far as Alison goes, her collections include Informed, To See What Rises, Zombies at the Disco, Caught in the Myth, Ordinary Magic, Dangerous Enough, and They Sing at Midnight, which I believe all of them are available as well. Yes? Hold on, I got lost here for you. Raising my eyes. She won poetry's Frederick Buck Prize, the New York Quarterly's Madeline Saiden Award, and the Lyric Prize. So please help me welcome Alison Stone.
Stay. So thank you, Juan and Melissa, for organizing. It's lovely to read with Melissa and Carla and Lily. And these are reading glasses, so if I look up at you, I'll be blurry, so I won't. I'm going to read across my collections, starting with one from my very first book that I never read because I wrote it when I was like 18. Heritage. When my father killed my mother, no one noticed. The dead can cook. The dead can dress their hair in TV styles and lie back for sex, almost breathing. They live in towns where birds shriek like hysterics, while men decapitate the grass. See them in the malls and doctors' offices, all those dead, smiling women with their daughters of ash. When my grandfather went deaf and blind, I didn't notice. He had always been a statue, funny and formidable in Grandma's tiny living room. Once per meal he spoke, his lecture landing on the conversation like a spaceship. When he left, we cleared away the silver bones of the hen he had picked clean. My father didn't kill my mother. Her parents delivered her embalmed to his bed. True, he could have woken her with a kiss. She had read the books and was willing. Instead, he pressed her down with his body and sealed her lips. She had wine and the beloved ghosts of relatives who praised her laundry. As long as they can harm us, the dead do not die. When I began to kill my father, all males knew, just as ants pick up the signal from a comrade in need. Men on the street increased their catcalls. My boyfriend left his socks on the floor. Ghosts in my head threatened to leave. Still, I kept on with my killing. Then something strange began to happen in my parents' house. A singing wind tapped their door, and flowers in the garden shone with blood. My mother got color in her cheeks. Though the ghosts grabbed at her hair, I held her feet while she pushed herself through the tunnel to enter her life. Rocket to Russia. We split the night between the rat and spit, crash at Anne's when the nightclubs close, ashes in the fish tank, plates and panties in the sink. I think Johnny wants me because he dances with a hand between my legs, but when I lie on the bed, he ignores me to boil powder in a bottle cap, then nod on a bench. Cat passes out ding-dongs stolen from the deli and laughs about the time she threw up on a trick and had to pretend she'd been poisoned. I wake up with purple hair and Paul beside me grinning as he tries to dye Jenny's bangs blue. She rolls and stains the pillowcase. Contact lenses feel like glass, mouth tastes of socks. Walking to the subway in cold rain, I curse my mom for lending me her pointy boots. Jenny and I discuss Shakespeare and mescaline and why our boyfriends prefer men. A passing woman asks if I've been mugged. Crazy color has bled down my forehead and looks like a wound. No time to answer her. I have to get to school. We are doing one of the important wars. So this book is one poem for each tarot card, and this is the tarot card Death. Death. What will it take to reassure you? I don't bring oblivion. The old self needs to be sloughed off like skin. Think of me as cosmetologist, not fiend. Why suck the dry breast of the past? The mask is not the face. Even breath is not the soul, although the body has no other wings. Deep moss shadowing the lids, cheeks flushed with pink impermanence. You know me when you clean hairs from your comb, when you lie down with your lover, bone to bone. This is a form invented by Terence Hayes, where the last word can only be made with letters in the one-word title. Terminal. Decide the doctor's a liar. Decide prayer heals. Rant against God when it doesn't. Trim hope to the bone. Leave nothing for later. Wonder who will lament when the weather erases your name. Wander the forest of your past. Mail cards to everyone you've loved, a trail of words like breadcrumbs. Let each line say what you always meant. Get it right this time. So Pandora was brought to Earth as part of the punishment for Prometheus stealing fire and giving it to humans. She was the first woman, supposedly. Pandora. I'm a hot mess, ravishing disaster, blown into town under a blade-sharp moon. Men, you quiver as I slink by with my lipsticked smirk and box of troubles, ache at the sway of my skirt. You've never seen a woman's hips before, never touched hair soft as ash. My fingers and dismissals burn like stolen fire. Punishment so sweet, you can't tell if I entered through the ivory gate for false dreams or the carved horn gate for true. And this whole book is guzzles, and the form should be clear as I read. Listen. Be loud during sex. In a fight, listen. When your heart's thud says, here's delight, listen. The field tells tales, some seasons of plenty, too many of heartbreak and blight. Listen. We sing hymns, recite scripture, kneel and pray. Does God watch from some lofty height? Listen. Your teen daughter's barbed words hide longing and loss. The soul speaks through appetite. Listen. Sandra Bland turned without signaling from woman to ghost. Cause of death, not white. Listen to wind moan through caves, claws click on stone. I'd call your name if I thought you might listen. My kid did the artwork for my last two books. I just have to brag. I did the artwork for most of the others. And this is a pantoum. Cargo. Everywhere I go, I take my dead. Mom would have loved Rome, the masterpieces and churches, religions stacked on top of each other. Mom would have loved Rome, though Grandma was afraid to fly. Religions stack platitudes on top of each other, but can't bring back her Yiddish curses. Grandma was afraid to fly. She'd make a terrible angel. No place in heaven for Yiddish curses, and the music's always the same. Those I loved would make terrible angels. Jay with his sea blue eyes and prison tats, the music he blasted always the same. Top down, cruising back roads. Jay with his sea blue eyes and prison tats travels with my friends and relatives. Top down, cruising back roads. A whole crew I won't let go of. I travel with my friends and relatives past masterpieces and churches. This whole crew I won't let go of. Everywhere I go, I take my dead. And I have 2 more poems. Where's the Zoom camera? We were told to look at it every once in a while. Right here. Okay. Because my daughter wants a poem without love, death, naked people, or Persephone, and I can't imagine what I don't know. Because the radio broadcasts terror through our rooms. Because sometimes, for no reason, I remember Sandra Bland and cry. Because when regret nuzzles next to me all night, the dog still greets me in the morning with her eager nose. Because my daughter and I lift drying worms from the sidewalk and return them to soil. Because for all my errors and obstinance, still the mountain offers me the many angles of her face. Because a day can begin with laundry and end with astonishment. Because if I lie still, the cat may massage my belly as though I were dough. Because no war's been averted by the knowledge that our bones are made from the same stars. Because my dying friend said she would contact me, and I won't be fooled by birds or odd weather. Because I wanted to be broken and forgiven and healed into shine, but remain messy and yearning and unsure, my mind a drunken monkey stung by scorpions, despite decades of timed breath and best intentions. Because while I am willing to ignore death, naked people, and a goddess, I believe that love must be allowed in every crevice it can find a way to enter. Because the dead do not come back. Because birds are only animals in practical flight, and there are days I can't recall my mother's face. And I leave you with a wish. There is no gun. There is no gun in this poem, no politicians, no money. The children sit in classrooms. If a boy pulls the fire alarm, it's a dumb prank. The closets are stuffed with buckets and brooms. The children's blood is under their skin. Some are learning how it pumps from heart to artery to vein. There are no heroes, though teachers unpack books they've paid for, and the unthanked janitor mops vomit in the hall. The coach wonders which drills will bring his team to victory, not how many bodies his bulk can shield. The news crews are elsewhere with their helicopters and headlines. Some kids play violent video games. Some are angry and attack with fists or catty Snapchat posts. There is no AR-15, no fixed adjustable front and rear iron sights, no 30-round staggered column detachable box magazine, no 25 rounds in 2.5 seconds. The bell rings in this poem. Children grab their backpacks and head home. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. Last but definitely not least is Lily Greenberg, who I also a friend and poet I follow very closely, even if she feels stuck sometimes. Lily is a poet from Nashville, Tennessee, and the author of In the Shape of a Woman from Broadstone Books in 22. Her work has appeared or is forthcoming in Pushkar Prize, New England Review, The Rumpus, Ecotone, and Image, among others. Lily lives in Nyack, New York, where she organizes literary arts programs through Always Writing Collective and serves as board president for the Arts Council of Rockland. She's currently in training to become an Episcopal priest and looks forward to beginning a Master's of Divinity at Yale University in fall of 2026. Welcome, Lily.
Between a woman on the ground and a man in the clouds. Spent another summer at the pool where boys beat each other with noodles and girls hang on the lap ropes. There I go again, boys and girls. Someone small marches an ice cream sandwich across the grass, and a mother goes, "What'll it be today, he or they?" Who would I be if nobody told me who I was? Probably still parting dead bees with breaststroke, while men in the shallow end use big words like phenomena and country. In this country, a woman taught me to swim by tossing my baby body in the water. Her name was Miss Carolyn. She was Australian and believed not wanting to die was how to grow. Each day she preached shark attacks and wave swells to the landlocked children of Tennessee. My graduation involved treading water fully clothed, and thus proving, "No, Mom, I will not be a child dead in the water." That was my sister. My mother looked up from her crossword and clapped. Walking out, I pointed to a large woman and said, "Somebody's pregnant," and got pulled into the car as if out of the water. "Listen to me," my mother said. "You don't know anything about being a woman. Her body is between her and God, so mind your own." All the way home, I pictured her body lifted between a woman on the ground and a man in the clouds. Between her and God, a body exalted. Between her and God, a body afloat. Back home, I climbed in the tub with Barbie, lifting her above me to somewhere just out of reach, where my sister lived. Heaven is a blue-eyed blonde with long legs. I was a frog in the wrong pond. No, this is my water. A perfect woman I was given to give back to God. She goes, I stay. Thank you so much for including me in this reading. It's really great to be together. Thank you for coming out for poems. I wanted to read a selection of poems that revolve around my family unit pretty radically changing. I had an experience. I have a sister who's 12 years older than me who had been estranged from my family for about 20 years due to addiction. And like to the point where we didn't think she was alive. And in 2022, she went into recovery. And I bore witness to a very real resurrection. And so I have a manuscript that really is thinking about this experience. And so I wanted to read some poems that kind of hang together on that theme. Sister God. My first God was my sister. I didn't know where she was. She would vanish and reappear, my Holy Spirit. Her absence, a creak of small prayers, I trickled to her. Don't leave me alone. I lived in the Jerusalem of her bedroom, beneath the portrait of a sundressed girl. Was it her? I wouldn't know. When I wore her juicy sweatsuit, I looked nothing like her. I waited for a voice to say, sleep in my room, rest in my bed. I waited to run into her on a Tuesday street. Sister girl, sister hands, sister head heavy in my arms. And the streets stayed full of her, and I believed she was my sin. And people with her name flooded my days, so that when she came home, nobody saw a miracle. A woman at the edge of a bed, her voice, get out of my room. Okay. Sister story. My sister died when I was 6. This is the easiest version of the story. My sister died when I was 6 and baptized, went to heaven, an easy river where Jesus's people drift. Jews go to, my mother told me after my grandparents died. My sister floated heaven's river. Her eyes were circles. Her wings made a cross. Let me start over. My sister died and occasionally came back. An owl, a butterfly, a magnolia, a series of numbers scrawled in the Rolodex. My sister came back when I was 8, 14, and 19, changing nothing of her absence. Did you hear the one about my sister grounded for smoking and appearing in the back of Douglas Corner, blowing smoke to my father on stage? Did you hear the one where she wasn't allowed a license and sailed our car into the creek? The one where she babysat my brother by tying him to a tree? Once she came to my mother as an owl in the city's bright day, and my mother's mouth took the shape of the owl's eye, and the O remained. When I was 6, my sister fell away from me into a life of sin. Everyone wanted to know what she was using. Men, my mother said. My sister was born to a mother who was using. No, my mother was born to a mother who was using. No, my sister was born to a single mother and replaced by a family. No, my sister was born and then I replaced my sister. In the beginning, my sister fell asleep. She slept through my childhood and I slept in her bed. The space I held for her. All I know is what longing has made of her, a stained window, woman-shaped and speaking. When I was a girl, the rest of my life swirled around me like ground clouds. When I was a girl, when I was and I was. Sister with eyes blinking, sister with speaking heart. I didn't think she was, would be. Let me start over. No one comes back from the dead, but my sister did. So I wanted to read one poem from my first book. Yeah. One of the kind of interesting things about writing is that when we write in a period of time, they're kind of these time capsules, even when the experience changes. And so this was written during a time when, I didn't think I would see my sister again. Rebecca. The first time an owl looked at my mother, she was in San Francisco looking for my sister, walking under a white sun when the eyes of who she understood to be God lifted her own eyes right out of her head. She called the dead number again, and my sister picked up. They met at Whole Foods and drank the coffee black. My mother came home convinced, a redemption story, the circle blown open into a cross. I wasn't so sure. My sister's room was mine now. I wanted all the doors in the house to stay closed. My mother began wearing an owl around her neck, drank coffee from an owl mug, staged big eyes on the bookshelf, the kitchen table, the bathroom wall. The story starts over every year. My mother walks wide-eyed through the park. The sign, the phone call, the flight, holding the red balloon of my sister's face, praying for methadone the way Californians pray for rain. I used to be afraid of the owl, but its appearance changes nothing. We misread the message. Within the circle of its eyes are more circles, a loop reinforcing the immutable stare that I turn my head backwards to remember, always moving away. And in this new manuscript that I have, I sort of rewrote that poem because obviously like she's like back in our family and the story did change and I thought a lot about how I didn't want the story to change in some kind of way, you know? Beneath me. On the day I understood my life as not mine, 3 donkeys turned to face my feet going down and down the green hill. Did I think I walked alone? In my roots, did I think into a teacup they would keep curled? When the owl appeared to my mother, it was morning in the city. Cars stood empty beside sleeping people. I am, the owl could have said, with its stare, and here would end the poem. But the owl, by its unlikely presence in the unlikely tree, alive in loud air, roots chafing concrete, said, I am where you are. My mother came home drunk with hope, my sister's name alive on her lips. If the owl could, if the owl, then, and how soon? But I thought my life mine, so her hope was beneath me. I didn't want change, so nothing did. Then I didn't want change, so everything did. Falls and falls again, that gaze. My mother looks up. Between the two, my sister is born again, and again appears the animal witness, blinking me awake. Here are my roots without end, her hope beneath me and my sister looking up. And I'm just going to read one more. Prodigal. In the middle of my life, you returned a sister. Your laugh, firework cackle of one back from the dead. Firstborn spiders swing from the guest room light. Million spindling, million questions. Where do we begin? At church, where the back pew commotion, cup knocked, coffee stain. Do you take it black? Kneel, cross your arms? You speak and the beginning ends, after which I mustn't forget your unlikely presence or the shape of your absence, a window through which you and a body brightly shine. Your body, a death of an orbit we grooved into without you. But I forget your unlikely presence. Too many dogs, cold showers. The channel keeps changing, and who ate my lunch? Dumbstruck, I'd like to stay, but I'm rolling my eyes, wearing earplugs. And the miracle now is we've lived long enough to annoy each other. Every day you're alive is a cup run over with coffee and towels on the counter and a change of shirt and laughter I never saw coming, but once it begins, I could never, will never, with you, end. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. Thanks very much to all of you. You know, I have, yes, you have a question? Yes. Thank you. Sergio has gone to more poetry readings than many of us, by the way. Yes. I have a little confession to make. I think that I even coordinate these readings or do